A new study says nearly 200 more banks are at risk of a Silicon Valley bank-style collapse. Meanwhile, Senator Elizabeth Warren is calling for an independent probe into recent failures of Silicon Valley Bank and more regulation. NTD's Daniel Monahan has more.
Researchers with the Social Science Research Network have a dire warning for U.S. banks. They say over 180 banks across the country could collapse. That is, if half of their respective uninsured depositors withdraw their funds. Unlike insured depositors, uninsured depositors stand to lose a part of their deposits if the bank fails. That potentially gives them incentives to run. According to the paper, recent declines in bank asset values very significantly increased the fragility of the U.S. banking system to such uninsured depositor runs. Meanwhile, U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren is pushing for tighter banking regulations. Here's Warren on ABC.
These big multi-billion-dollar banks loaded up on risk. They boosted their short-term profits. They gave themselves huge bonuses and big salaries, and they exploded their banks.
Warren says the approach of stepping in when these giant banks get into trouble should change, and expressed another concern.
But there are a lot of people who are saying, gee, if they've been so lightly regulated for such a long period, it's important to look under the hood.
Warren bemoaned the regulation slashing by both parties under the Trump administration. She says Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell took a flamethrower to the protective measures. The Democratic senator sent a letter to the Inspectors General of the U.S. Treasury Department and the Federal Reserve on Sunday. She is urging regulators to examine the recent management and oversight of the collapsed banks. In related news, the U.S. announced joint liquidity measures with some of the world's largest central banks. The aim is to enhance liquidity provision. The move comes on the heels of a deal brokered by Swiss authorities. Under that arrangement, UBS Group will buy rival Swiss bank Credit Suisse Group to prevent its disorderly collapse. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.